New Year's Eve, one of the biggest bar nights of the year, but too much fun could land you in trouble and even end in tragedy.
We obviously want everybody to have a plan. If you are going out to celebrate the new year.
Sergeant Robert Sellers is one of many state troopers keeping a watchful eye on drivers this holiday. His focus is on those who may be impaired.
We increase our patrols, so we'll have, extra troopers around Northwest Ohio. We'll be extremely vigilant as far as enforcing the traffic laws.
13 ABC rode with Sellers New Year's Eve. First stop of the night, a speeder.
Ma'am, I checked your speed at 63.
Aside from watching their speed, police also want drivers to have a plan and designate a driver if they plan on having a few drinks. Even though this advice seems redundant, it's worth repeating because it could save lives. If you choose to ignore it, you could end up here or somewhere worse.
Alcohol-involved crashes are 100% preventable. It comes down to a person making a choice. And, if they choose to not drink and drive, we don't have to worry about any of those consequences.
In 2013, state troopers arrested more than 23,000 people for impaired driving. And that's exactly why authorities crack down this time of year.
We never take a day off. We're out here every day, working towards our mission.
Every family has good children. Dawn, this is a little bit different. I said she walked with God her whole life.
Dawn celebrated her life, she celebrated her family, she celebrated her friends. Dawn connected with everyone she met, and she provided a beautiful example of how to live life to the fullest.
She always had a way of making you feel really special.
She was special not because of what she did at SeaWorld, but because what she did in her own life.
There's no question the life of Dawn Brancho was extraordinary. From her early years in Indiana to her rise to fame as a whale trainer at SeaWorld Orlando, Dawn left a lasting impression.
When we watched her, you just couldn't have just joy. I mean, that's all you felt from her.
Dawn's sister, Debbie Fragamini, lives in the Toledo area. She's now helping carry the torch in honor of Dawn, whose life was cut short at the age of 40.
She was just a blessed person, so I think that it resonates out throughout the Toledo community even now, 4 years after her death, and so her spirit lives on, really does.
In 2010, after 14 years of working with killer whales, tragedy struck. Not during a performance, but behind the scenes. During an enrichment exercise, Tillicum, the whale co-workers call one of Dawn's favorites, pulled Dawn under, and she drowned. Since the loss of Dawn, SeaWorld has not been the same. Trainers have stricter rules about interactions with the whales and no longer swim with them. Dawn's friends and family are also forever changed.
When we had the accident occur, we just kind of wanted to take the energy and that came from that kind of loss and try to move it in a positive direction.
That positive direction is the Dawn Brancho Foundation, a nonprofit organization run by Dawn's family, including those in Toledo. This year, they built a playground for homeless children at Matthews Hope in Florida. They're also planting community gardens such as this one at Edgewood Children's Ranch, and buying furniture for the Central Florida Children's Home.
Oh, they are very gracious to us. I believe this year is bunk beds.
All in the name of Dawn.
It means the world. It is. It's just incredible. The foundation does so many amazing, incredible things. They keep doing more every year, and it's just so special to be part of it to help that out.
Raising money is a whole other project. It starts with their biggest fundraiser of the year, the Dream Big 5K, a run through SeaWorld Orlando combining Dawn's initials, DB, with her philosophy, Dream Big. Many of the runners here this morning are workers at SeaWorld. Others are with nonprofit organizations that are supported by the Dawn Brancho Foundation.
This foundation was established to honor Dawn and to keep her bright light shining in our world. And we thank all of you for helping us by dreaming big, thinking of Dawn often, and being the best you can be.
It good. Dawn made everyone feel good, and this is her payback to them, really.
And it's not just the Dream Big 5K. There are permanent reminders of Dawn's legacy across the park. This is the Dawn Brancho Educational Complex. In here, after the 4th annual race, volunteers packed food for the hungry and filled separate bags with pet supplies for dog adoptions. Then, Dawn's family drove to Give Kids the World. To clean the villa they've adopted in Dawn's name. It's an extraordinary way to honor a woman who inspired so many to reach high, give back, and dream big.
She always knew she wanted to work at SeaWorld and train killer whales.
It's great to be here. We wouldn't want to be anyplace else because we love Dawn.
It's absolutely emotional, and what happened was very sad and tragic, but it's very uplifting. The whole day is.
We're here this morning celebrating an incredible life.
It's just kind of part of the grieving process, I believe. We just kind of did our best to always try to mirror her interests and project out into the community all the goodness that we felt she brought to us.
Dateline Toledo. Halloween is on the horizon and the undead are once again restless. They're heading for a tavern near you.
Zombies eat a lot of brains and they get very thirsty, and this is an opportunity for them to imbibe and quench that thirst.
Ryan Bunch is the brains behind the 3rd annual Adams Street Zombie Bar Crawl. Last year, he says, the crowd energized an otherwise lifeless evening, setting record sales for purveyors of late-night sustenance, such as Bob Lockett from Mr. Bob's Barbecue.
Well, once they taste the barbecue, they'll give up the flesh. They'll give up the flesh, man, I'm telling you.
Well, 2 storms moved through the area, and as you can see behind me here, the damage is very extensive, and many of the residents in the area are still shocked. It could only be described as chaos. Dozens of people were left in a daze after an apparent tornado touched down in Lake Township, leaving 3 people dead.
It sounded like a freight train, and then it came through on the north side of 795 and hit the Lake Township Hall.
Mark Smith watched the storm from across the street, and he was amazed at what he saw.
About a quarter mile wide at this point, and the further east it went, it probably grew to about a half a mile wide.
That same storm knocked down power lines, demolished homes, and nearly leveled Lake High School.
Me and my buddy, we went to Lake, and we heard that it got destroyed. I was like, no way. So we came up here. Then they said they were going to have graduation tomorrow. I felt, oh, that's horrible. That's just absolutely horrible. It's almost surreal what I'm looking at, It is. It's surreal.
After surveying some of the damage at the high school, the superintendent said it was destroyed. He had to cancel the graduation ceremony scheduled for this afternoon. For many residents, the damage is still unreal.
It just don't happen around here too often. It never does, I mean, I lived here my whole life, and they say tornadoes, we just kind of, you sit in the out back and kind of watch, see what happens.
I'm seeing something completely unbelievable. I've never seen anything like this before. It's just, I walked up to the front just playing dumb just to see, how bad it was, and it's looked like just went straight down the center.
Now emergency crews will work around the clock to make sure that everyone is accounted for.
As fast as Jerusalem Township firefighters could fill the sandbags,
It's the best hope we got.
residents like Megan Grassley are loading them up to help hold back the floodwaters.
A couple more feet and it's up to the door. It's coming in the house.
Megan is bringing the sandbags here to her sister Heather's house.
Just move things to higher ground and just hope for the best.
They can't work fast enough to keep the water at bay. Right across the street at Phantom Fireworks, workers are trying to keep the water from getting into the store. Manager Sherry Junga says the loading dock to the warehouse is full.
Never seen it like this. This is just absolutely insane.
Nevertheless, these guys drove through the water from Fremont to buy the fireworks.
Every road we turned down, it was road closed. There's water everywhere.
Driving away from Route 2 doesn't get any better. Nissan Road is blocked off by rushing waters. Bob Amante and his family watch helpless as the waters continue to rise. You marked this early this morning?
Yeah, that was 6 o'clock this morning. I put that stick in.
And that's where the water was, and it's come up more. And I got 4 sump pumps in the basement going right now.
Around the corner, Brown Road is blocked by water. Ron Sheehan's yard is submerged, and so is his basement.
It was coming right in through the crawl vents and the basement windows.
As the day wears on, the water just continues to rise. This is a picture of Heather's van when we first met her.
And just about an hour after we did the first interview, the water's gone up about a foot and moved the car forward.
While the waters rise, so does frustration and fear.
And now my kids get to see what it looked like to have your house taken by a flood. I wanted something better for them.
It's a high-stakes scenario.
We're just looking for clues. Right.
Where the pressure is intensified with a countdown.
Says in 2 years, Tim will be twice as old as he was 5 years ago. How old is
Your only hope is to solve the clues. To get out.
There are clues, puzzles around the room. There's, decoys. There's a storyline. It's basically a play and a choose-your-own-adventure.
That's the name of the game at Trap Toledo, now located off Heatherdowns behind Burger Bar 419.
Trap Toledo is an interactive experience.
Our safe word is zebra. Can everyone say zebra?
Zebra! Kind of a theater. A bit of a video game.
She doesn't know what's coming.
It's basically you're trapped in a room with 11 other people, up to 11 other people, and you have 60 minutes to get out.
Trap Toledo is inspired by Flash-based online games and escape rooms, which are big in other countries. In this first for our area, you can choose from a lab with zombies to a mayor's office with a bomb.
I got a bunch of letters on the back of this.
Yeah. So whether you're in the infected room or the blown away room, the idea is to get out within 60 minutes so you don't become trapped, Toledo.
It's timed, so if you get out of the room at all, it's an accomplishment.
If you succeed, you win bragging rights. Not getting trapped is its own reward. In Toledo, Tony Geftis, 13 ABC, Action News.
There are strong opinions on both sides of this argument. The deer have been an issue here in Ottawa Hills for a number of years, so we hit the streets to find out how much of a problem they actually are. The streets of Ottawa Hills are quiet. Houses tucked away among the trees. It's exactly why people live here. But for some, nature is getting too close to home.
We've seen the situation progressively get worse.
We've noticed that they have become much more familiar with humans, and they've become much more aggressive with our pets.
They're talking about white-tailed deer. Chances are you've seen them.
Our home is next to a field, so it's not uncommon to have 3 to 5 deer in our yard, virtually all day.
Devin Denner says now's the time to do something.
So the balance of the ecosystem is actually skewed. There are no natural predators.
13 ABC canvassed the village to see the problem firsthand. We found deer close to homes and in the meadows, but nothing destructive or dangerous. Dozens of homeowners have had very different encounters. From pet attacks and car accidents to backyards taken over and decimated landscaping.
If any population, be it plant or animal, gets out of hand, it can be a limiting factor or a negative effect.
There is a proposal that some say could help. Issue 13 changes the village ordinance to allow for a controlled bow hunt to manage the deer population.
We are very concerned about the health of the deer. They are much skinnier than they used to be.
Dozens of communities across the state have taken steps to change their ordinances that enable some kind of active management.
If adopted, it will mirror a similar program in Granville, near Columbus. It's extensive and includes some strict rules. Hunters must be licensed, complete a background check, and safety programs. They must also apply for authorization through the police chief. The Granville program also prohibits the use of firearms and requires the property owner to sign off. Exactly how this will work for the village of Ottawa Hills isn't set in stone. Proponents say it will really be driven by the citizens at virtually no cost. If it passes, the village will take baby steps to try and figure out what will work best.
I'm not going to vote on something that I don't feel confident in.
Lynn Masson sees deer on her street, but this avid gardener doesn't think they're a problem. She says thanks to a little bit of research, she keeps them out of her yard.
And if you just disperse, like this is our sage, some lavender, in with the garden, as it says when you look online, you're not bothered by animals.
She, like many others, have a slew of questions. Most have serious safety concerns.
If the deer hunt were to pass, despite anyone's best intentions, there's no way that you can completely guarantee safety.
Morrow says the risks are just too high. On top of that, he doesn't believe this step is necessary.
They think that there's somehow this proliferation of deer, and it's just not been the case.
He argues there's only been 4 deer-related car accidents in 2015, fairly consistent with years past. Plus, he says despite the deer population growth across the state, numbers in the village haven't really changed since 2009.
And we're not talking about a vicious animal here. I mean, you see a deer, if a deer sees a human, it runs the other way.
It's clear this decision isn't being taken lightly, and come November, voters will answer that million-dollar question. When it comes down to it, on one hand, you have those serious safety concerns, and on the other, you have animal health and environmental concerns. There is a lot of information out there about the risks and benefits of plans like this. Head over to 13abc.com to read more about the Granville Hunt program and find out more about the village's current wildlife management plan. Reporting live from Ottawa Hills, Amy Montgomery, 13ABC Action News.